Could a strange substance found by a southwest Arkansas man be part of a government test? Well, that's the question at the heart of a phenomenon called chemtrails, now getting widespread attention. Well, tonight, KSLA News 12 investigation reporter Jeff Farrell shows us the results of testing we had done about what's in our skies.
It seemed like some mornings it was just crisscrossing the whole sky. It was just like a giant checkerboard.
Bill Nichols snapped several photos of the strange clouds from his home in Stamps, Arkansas. They begin as normal contrails from a jet engine, but do not fade away like a normal contrail. Soon after, he saw particles in the air.
Because we'd see it drop to the ground in a haze.
Nichols then noticed the material collecting on the ground.
This is water and stuff that I collected in bowls. I had it set out in my backyard on my dad's pickup truck.
KSLA News 12 had the sample tested at a lab. The results? A high level of barium, 6.8 parts per million, more than 3 times the toxic level set by the EPA. Armed with these lab results about the high levels of barium found in our sample, we decided to contact the Louisiana Department of Environmental Quality. They told us that yes, these levels are very unusual, but at the same time they added the caveat that proving the source is a whole other matter. Barium is a hallmark of other chemtrail testing, which even attracted attention from a Los Angeles TV station. There's already no shortage of unclassified weather modification programs by the government. But those who fear chemtrails could be secret biological or chemical testing on the public point to the 1977 Senate hearings in particular, which confirmed 239 populated areas had been contaminated with biological agents between 1949 and 1969. Later, the 1994 Rockefeller Report concluded hundreds of thousands of military personnel were also subjected to secret biological experiments over the last 60 years. But could secret testing be underway yet again?
I'd rather it be something inert and benign, something that's, not causing any damage, but I'd like to know what it is.
KSLA News 12 discovered chemtrails are even mentioned by name in the initial draft of House Bill 2977 back in 2001 under the Space Preservation Act. But the military denies any such program exists. Jeff Farrell, KSLA News 12 reporting.
And it turns out until 9 years ago, the government had the right under U.S. law to conduct secret testing on the American public under specific conditions. Only a public outcry repealed part of that law, with some exception.
For the last couple of years, we've been taking a look at this strange thing called Morgellons. We first began looking at it as part of ABC's Medical Mystery Series. Now, along the way, we've met many people suffering from these bizarre symptoms, people from all walks of life, young and old, men and women, even athletes. Among the most bizarre symptoms, they described fluorescent string-like particles coming out of their bodies. When we first met Ann Dill, she lived on Florida's Lake Mary in an idyllic setting. Her life was once idyllic too. But life now in the Dill household is far from perfect. Ann's 40-year-old husband, Tom, died 2 years ago in January, and she believes his death was due to a contagious illness that has infected her entire family. Tell me what you believe is happening on your skin. It's like fibers that come out of your skin?
Yes, there's this fibrous material. It's in layers.
I look at your arm.
Our hands swell and they itch, and
it's been described as feeling as if either bugs are crawling on the surface of your skin or underneath your skin.
Underneath the skin has felt that way.
But do these fibers grow from inside the body, as Morgellons patients believe, or do they come from the external environment, a kind of lint, as many doctors say? Many doctors remain skeptical that this is a real medical condition at all.
They're fibers, I believe, from the environment, not from inside the skin.
Dr. Vincent DeLeo is chief of dermatology at New York's St. Luke's Roosevelt Medical Center. He has not examined Ann Dill. But for Mary Leitao, a scientist herself, opinions like Dr. DeLeo's don't add up. When her son Drew was just 2 years old, Mary noticed an odd sore on his lip that would not heal.
He very simply said bugs, and he pointed to his lips. What I saw were bundles of fibers, balls of fibers.
Mary began poring through the medical literature, looking for clues. What she discovered was a 17th century reference to a strange disease called Morgellons.
My kids have to see not only their dad, but their mom disintegrating, and that's got to be really scary too.
Some patients actually gave us those fibers, so we had them analyzed against 100,000 known fiber samples, both natural and synthetic, that the FBI crime lab uses, Diane. Guess what? Not a match.
I feel like bugs are inside of me. It feels like something's actually biting my eye. There's pinprick sensations on your skin. You get really itchy. It's totally like a bad science fiction story. It's like pure evil, I swear. I have Morgellons disease. It's not a recognized disease. The medical society has shunned us. I saw a doctor who told me I was delusional. I feel like if people can't see it, they don't believe it. I'm sad all the time. I'm depressed all the time. Before I had this disease, I was definitely a happier person. I was one of the first female professional snowboarders in the 1990s, and it was really great. It's bad. I just want a cure so I can live my life like a normal person again.
Normal jet contrails are formed above 30,000 feet and last only a few seconds. Normal contrails are created very rarely and are caused by the intense heat thrown off of jet engines as they climb towards their cruising altitudes. Designed to appear as normal contrails, chemtrails, on the other hand, do not occur from the mixture of engine heat and water molecules at high altitude. They usually occur between 12,000 and 20,000 feet, and photographic evidence clearly demonstrates that these emissions are coming from spray nozzles attached under the wing, near the engines, or extending from the rear of the plane. Studies done by independent laboratories indicate that the following elements can be found in chemtrails as well as in our rainwater. One scientist in California, using the proven NASA technology of resonance imaging, verified these elements as well as many others. It has been found that polymer fibers are used as a binding agent for the desiccated red blood cells. These blood cells are peppered with pathogens known to be harmful to human health. Over a 3-year period starting in 1999, researchers have discovered a veritable shopping list of these pathogens in increasing strength. Many doctors and hospitals have, since 1996, indicated that death and illness of their patients from unknown airborne ailments has increased a whopping 3,000% over previous years. It would appear by these facts that the evidence indicates a starting of the chemtrail spraying program since about 1987 in various test regions in the Southwest, and full-blown chemtrail activity against the citizenry since 1996. Fortunately, we have some 4 years of intense study into the problem of chemtrails, and the following facts are not disputed. For reasons that will shortly become apparent, given the data collected, we know the following. Fact: chemtrails are loaded with pathogens deadly to the human organism. Fact: chemtrails are definitely aimed at the major population centers, though even the backcountry of America and other areas of Europe receive chemtrails. Certainly not with the intensity and frequency of, say, Los Angeles or New York. Fact: much of the spraying occurs at night. Fact: chemtrails contain various heavy metals such as titanium, aluminum, barium salts, and other toxic metals. Fact: most of the spraying is carried out by NATO air forces in their respective countries.
It's kind of a semicircle, and the top is kind of reddish.
It sounds like something from the X-Files.
The very first one was kind of a creamy white.
People claim they have strings, not hairs, but strings, growing out of their skin.
It's all a system. They're all connected together. They're just these awful little black things that intertwine.
There is this black spot back here.
Doctors and nurses can't believe what they're seeing.
that one.
They're blue, they're red, they sometimes move, which is really bizarre.
This didn't seem like anything I had ever seen that was coming out of a human body.
I mean, this is a mystery. It really is.
In tonight's special report, Health and Science editor John Fowler has the latest on the disease, including a talk with a former Bay Area baseball star who knows all about it.
Both horrifying and fascinating, from here in Florida to the Bay Area. Something seems to be causing a mysterious new disease. Former Oakland A's pitcher Billy Koch has it, and so do his wife and their 3 children. Though they can afford top medical care, doctors have no answers.
You know what? Something weird is going on, and something needs to be done.
He freaked out. He wanted to ignore it, which I wanted to too, but when it comes to your kids, you gotta stop ignoring it.
It started in Oakland 4 years ago. Billy saved 44 games, the top reliever in baseball. His fastball wowed crowds, and then the weirdness.
Some black specks came out of my hand and came out of my arm.
And within 2 years, at age 29, he was out of baseball.
Twitching. Just uncontrollable muscle twitches for months at a time through the night. I mean, and that's just weird.
They say out of slow-healing skin lesions will come bizarre filaments, especially after bathing.
That's when it would just really just ooze, literally ooze out of my skin.
There's no reasonable explanation for it. I know I'm not seeing things, I'm watching it happen. I mean, we're pretty sane people.
They've seen several doctors, everybody's told them they're crazy, it's in their head, they're delusional.
Dr. Neelam Upal gave the Kochs and 15 other patients a powerful anti-parasite medicine and antibiotics. That helped temporarily, but the filaments came back.
I've seen them send it to the lab, they can't identify it. They'll say nothing.
It's not enough that you're suffering and hurting and you're an idiot and you're crazy on top of it. I mean, I'm really hurt and I'm really sad and I'm really scared.
The Kochs may be the most recognizable of more than 3,000 families nationwide reporting these same unexplained symptoms. There are curious clusters here in Florida, along the Gulf Coast, and in the San Francisco Bay Area, where we begin our investigation into new clues to this medical mystery.
It looks like there's a lot more on your back here.
Okay. San Francisco physician Rafael Stricker took samples from Bay Area sufferers. Patients report pustules and filaments that most doctors dismiss.
You're nuts. If you're talking about a white thing coming out of your wounds.
Dermatologists told us it was all delusions, although none had studied it. This scientist is the first to conduct research on this disconcerting disease.
This is definitely the biggest mystery I've ever been involved in.
UC Davis-trained physiologist Randy Wymore, now at Oklahoma State University in Tulsa, leads a medical team researching what's now called Morgellons disease. With cooperation from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Wymore's team is studying Bay Area patients and others from around the country. His first finding disputes that diagnosis of delusions.
Pathologists and dermatologists and lab reports that these were textile fibers that were appearing in the skin of the sufferers. Well, that's just not true, just to be perfectly blunt about it.
Wymore says his tests rule out not only textile fibers, but also worms, insects, animal material, even human skin and hair. The filaments, he says, are not external contamination, but rather a substance that materializes somehow inside the body, apparent artifacts of something infectious. More results are expected soon. And Wymore says a neurotoxin or microorganism may disturb muscle control and memory.
The neurological effects are the much more severe, life-altering, and potentially dangerous of the conditions.
Wymore says he's about to begin a clinical trial and offers this to sufferers.
We know that there is something real going on here. You're not delusional.
Wymore just released this open letter to physicians treating Morgellons patients. He says doctors need to take this seriously, that what they're seeing is a highly unusual, newly emerging infectious disease. Health and Science editor John Fowler, KTVU, Channel 2 News.